Hey everyone, Phoenix here. Today I am doing the instance, the Daring Strike, and all of the instances around the Fort of Isen in a row. This is where Théodred comes in, and this is the Prince of Rohan. I've really been enjoying my time in the Dunland area of Lord of the Rings Online, having a ton of fun and getting to Rohan and Isengard. Really excited to move into that area of the game. I'm level 74, almost level 75, and that's like halfway to the level cap, which is a little bit crazy to me. But we are here at the Fort of Isen, and we're getting ready for the strike on Isengard that Théodred wants to make. I don't know if this is something that is in the books or in any of the backup media for the books, but in the Lord of the Rings movie, The Two Towers, we see a glimpse of what happens here. In the extended edition, there's like a 1-minute clip of Éomer coming on the Fort of Isen, and maybe we'll talk about that at the end, so there's no spoilers for what actually happens here. But right now we are telling some of the soldiers to stay behind so they can guard the fort while Théodred and the rest of his company go forward and attack Isengard. I really like that a lot of the NPCs in this area are riding around on horses. Kind of gives it, you know, that's what you would expect from Riders of Rohan. All right, now we're going back across the ford, and we're going to talk to Théodred. So the way that this instance works is it takes place over one day, and this is going to be like the dawn, the morning, and then there's different instances for midday, dusk, night. Also, my favorite character name yet, Grimbold. This has got to be such a good name. It's going to be fun to say it throughout this video.
Prince Théodred left riders at the ford of Isen to guard the passage into Rohan, and he went north with a second group to Isengard.
Throughout, there's going to be these little interludes where the narrator is breaking down how this attack is going. And here we go. We're off to Isengard. Everyone's riding. There's a ton of NPCs here, which is really cool. I think the unfortunate thing with this is there's some tech limitation with when this came out, which was a pretty long time ago. And a lot of these NPCs are just kind of static decorations and not actually, they're not coming on the attack with us or whatever. They just stand around. So that's a little bit disappointing, and that happens kind of throughout where there's some nice set pieces, but the interaction is limited. So they send someone on to scout ahead, and this scout, Hildred, comes back and says that Isengard is ripe for attack, that they don't have a lot of defense, or they have defense, but their numbers aren't great. And somehow thinks that they've taken Saruman unawares, but at least Théodred here kind of knows not to celebrate, that the White Wizard is not to be underestimated. But they think that this is good news, and they're going to go ahead and attack. So throughout, there's times where the instance kind of just ends, so it says travel now. It takes us back to Grimbold's camp, and then you use the map again to get to the next section of the instance. I think if you had this as one instance, it would be really long, so this gives you the opportunity to, take a break from playing if you really want to. But now we are at midday. We're outside the gates of Isengard. We are with Théodred, and this seems like a pretty small attack force. I think it's just the scale of what the game can do, but Isengard looks super cool. The walls are really nice. Got all the banners of the White Hand, and Théodred orders Grimbold to have his archers fire a volley, which is kind of a pathetic 5-archer volley, but I guess it kills some orcs, or I guess these are half orcs here. and then asks us to attack the flank. So we're going to go off to the side here. And he says to do it on foot so we can leave our horse behind, and then we go off to the side. Just the two of us, I guess. I'm not sure why. And then the riders begin the attack. There are 5 riders attacking this orc group. And then some orcs pop out and we have to kill them. I kind of think this instance could have been improved by just like letting there be a ton of enemies, and then if you die or fail, like that's just like you wake up like back at the camp or something, right? Like you got dragged out by another Rohirrim. Anyway, Théodred comes and
our victory was short-lived. All was still as the gates of Isengard swung open. Out boiled a mighty force of Saruman's Uruks. They sought to surround us, and Théodred ordered a retreat.
So Saruman tricked them. There's like actually 1,000,000 orcs, as we know, and we're in full retreat. So they threw some nets to like capture some orcs, and then we're going to kill them. So we have to kill 3 netted Uruks. And this is another instance where you can see like there's a ton of orcs, but they really just like stand around, and they're really just kind of landscape dressing. They're not actually creatures that you can fight. I think it would have been cooler if they could have just like swarmed you and you actually had to run, but that's kind of maybe more like a single player Lord of the Rings game than Lord of the Rings Online. So that's what you get in this setting instead. So we killed 3. We have to get out of here, and then that takes us back to the camp again. So now we're going to hit travel again, and this instance is now called the Battle of the Ford. So we're trying to give Prince Théodred time so that he can retreat. And here's another instance where like there's a warg and it's just like walks back and forth, but we can't fight it. So the ones that get this like green haze around them, those are the ones that we can actually kill and can attack us. And it just feels weak because like they could just, I don't know, I feel like there could have been better timing with maybe when you kill them, like they instantly spawn. Anyway, old game. It's still really cool. Die. Shakai Warrior. So these guys are level 75, so they actually are higher level than me, but they seem to be going down super easy. So now we must fall back. So basically you just stay with Grimbold here. You get ambushed on the road. I don't know if you can call it an ambush, but I mean, if you like don't look at what's happening in the background and just kind of like, there's a ton of movement, which is cool. Just kind of ignore that they're moving around without doing anything. And this guy I couldn't attack for some reason. I'm not sure what happened here, but then a leader spawns, Shakai leader, and I'm able to fight him. He was a little bit tougher, but not that tough. And then the Rohirrim just start dropping like flies. Edwig has fallen, and then you can see some of the guys on the side just get like timed deaths. He says to run, and then all these guys just get shot by arrows and fall and die like kind of simultaneously, and that keeps happening as we go. Then we get to this group of archers kind of further down the road, and Grimbold says to like rally around him. Saying that Saruman will attack us soon, and they think that the prince has gotten to safety and we just can't let these forces get to him, but little does he know that's not the case. So a rider comes up bringing news that there's a second force of Uruks that came to the ford in secret. and that Prince Théodred is in danger. So that completes this instance. We go back to the camp again.
Pursued us as we fled, and the riders Théodred left at the ford were driven away by their onslaught. The prince was forced onto the island in the middle of the river, attacked from both sides, and we could not reach him. All seemed lost.
And then now we're at sunset, the Battle of the Ford. Now we're away from Isengard. All these orcs are fighting Théodred's force around the Ford of Isen, and we are fighting our way towards him through all of these orcs. And this is a little bit better in what I mean, where like there's a ton of orcs and a lot of them come at you at once. So like even if they're weak or whatever, it just feels more like engaging. There's a ton of orcs and there's real danger, even if it's not real. So I like that about this one. And we got these Shakai warriors again. They went down so easily. It's crazy. Grimbold being awesome here. So now we're going across the river into that island where Théodred was. And this is Kristen, the guy we saw at the very beginning of the instance, who we kind of walked across the ford with, fighting over Théodred's body. And now we get Morflack, who was an orc that we encountered when we were captured in Isengard. I didn't make a video specifically about that, but I did make a YouTube short, so you could check that out. But it's kind of my least favorite thing that I've experienced in Lord of the Rings Online so far, as being a capture in Isengard. It was just like, didn't make any sense. They let you keep your weapons. Like, they could have left that out of the game for me. I haven't had a lot of complaints about the story so far. I think they did such a good job with the story until I encountered that. So now we have to fight Morflack. And we hear a horn blowing from far away.
And yet, as the sun set and our hopes with it, the sound of a horn signaled the arrival of a new force on the far side of the river. Elfhelm riding hard from Helm's Deep, with many riders at his call. The Uruks retreated before him, and the day was saved, but much was lost that could not be regained.
And then we're back at the camp, and then we'll do it again. Now we're at the Prince of Rohan night, same day. So this is Elfhelm, who we learn through this instance was in command of the forces at Helm's Deep and saw what was happening and rode out to help us, which is pretty cool. And kind of maybe explains why there's no garrison at Helm's Deep later, or at least maybe. I haven't gotten there yet, so. We're going to go over to all of the Rohirrim are gathered around Théodred as he lies dying on the ford. And Grimbold asks us to do what we can for Théodred, but he can't be saved. Or at least he doesn't think he can be saved. So we'll go over to Théodred, and he says he wants us to know that his father cannot stand alone. And then he dies. And all of these people say that they'll stand with Theoden King, and they like kind of bow for him. And that is the Ford of Isen instance series. So I think that was like 5 total instances in a row, and we are back at Grimbold's camp. So we'll go get our rewards, which is a level 50 legendary tracer, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I really enjoyed this instance. I think it's like shows an epic event that we don't really get to see in the movies or really read about in the books. So thought it was worth making a video about. If you like these videos, please press that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.